And their highly trained technicians and state-of-the-art equipment can do the job right. Offering full automotive repair with free pickup and delivery, where Jim Chick can do the trick. Go the Auto Connection, right next door to Walmart behind Burger King in Salem, or call 729-5920. At the KSMO Studios here at 1340, time for us to get with our friends from the Extension Council. Got Stephanie with us this morning. Hey!
Good morning, Stan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Did you wake up to a nice little frost on your pumpkins this morning?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't quite expect that, did we? Not quite yet. Anyway, good to have you with us. Anyway, Steph and I were talking but prior to coming on the air and just getting reacquainted. We don't get a chance to see each other very much, and you do a lot of bouncing around. You got a couple of counties to cover with your job, and you even get a chance to go down to Viburnum when we were just talking about some of those trips down there. So, but you did get a chance to see those younger kids and try and get them to start eating correctly at a young age, right?
Yeah, we talk about it anyway, and it's pretty good to see. I had a little girl, one little girl this year said to me, she raised her hand and she said, I send a newsletter home with the kids every week that I'm there. Every time I'm there, they get a newsletter that comes home up through 5th grade, I think, and so the parents can kind of see, it's a nice colorful newsletter, so the parents can kind of see, what we've talked about and whatever. Right. And she informed me that her daddy had been reading those newsletters, and she said he used to be really strict with his diet and worked out a lot. And she said he kind of got to where he was like, whatever, and he ate whatever, and he wasn't exercising like he used to. And she said he started reading your newsletters, and he decided that he was going to start eating right again and get back to exercising. And she it was funny because she's like, you made a difference for my daddy, and I was like, oh my goodness. So sometimes the kids pay attention and sometimes the parents do too, and that's always good.
Well, and really,
we have fun with it.
And anymore, we're in such a instant world. We want instant gratification. We want our food right now. We want this right now. We don't have time. We don't sit down as a family anymore and have the well-balanced meals that used to be prepared. I remember growing up, we had dinner at 5:30 every day on the nose. I mean, that was the way the schedule was. You were there and you were not late. You were late, you didn't eat.
Right.
And so usually we'd have a meat, could be beef, pork, lamb, chicken, whatever. Always had either a salad or a vegetable. Always had a potato or sweet potatoes, or could have had rolls, something of that nature. Always had a very balanced meal.
Right.
Very, very good. And always had, and usually always had fruit hanging around the house. So our snack at night would be fruit.
Right.
Pear, grapes, apple, orange, something of that nature is always there. So, and at that time, we'd all sit at one table. We'd all converse. No TV, no phones, no cell phones, no anything like that to disturb
Nobody's
you.
distracted by messing with their cell phone at the table or whatever. Yeah.
And you got a chance to talk about things. And not every time Mom cooked dinner did I like what she served, And so you may not have eaten as much, but that's what you had to eat. And you didn't get your choice. Nowadays, and I see this all the time, Steph, people make separate meals for every kid.
Yeah.
They don't like something.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in my house.
Well, no, but I mean, I've seen it happen.
Well, and you have so many people. There's, both parents. You just about can't get away from both parents working. It's really, really difficult to do that.
Sure.
There's a few families that have been successful at that. Maybe the one spouse, has a really, really good salary or something. But most of the time, both parents have to work. Kids are involved in all kinds of sports, and that's great because it keeps them active, and they learn teamwork and things like that. But at the same time, sometimes they're so busy, and if you have 3 or 4 kids and they're all involved in something, you're catching yourself coming as you're going. It's kind of hard to sit down and do that, but it's so important. I wish I actually had the statistics in front of me, but the statistics on kids not getting involved in, drinking at a young age, or drugs, or suicide, and, depression, and all these kind of things that we see really becoming more and more popular today. The statistics on the kids that sit down with their family and have one meal together a day, how much how much better it is for them not to get into those kind of things
Right.
compared to the kids who don't have that. The families that don't do that, it's a really, really big difference. And I try to encourage when I do an adult class, because I also teach adults at times. With my adult classes, I always talk to them about, family things. Take a walk with your kids. Do something active with them if you can. If you have, 15 or 20 minutes in the evening, go take a walk after dinner. Clear the table together. Make it a point to sit down and have that meal together or whatever. And talk or whatever. If you really are on opposite schedules, you can't all sit down together, do something together and unplug, turn off
Everything.
devices, television, all of it. Make sure that you sit down and at least visit with them, having that time. And sometimes even if it's just at bedtime is a good time for kids. They're vulnerable for some reason at that time. It's just before bed and they'll just open up and talk. But one thing that I've noticed with my kids is if we take a walk, I have one that will actually ask me, Mom, can we take a walk? And I always know he wants to talk to me about something. He wants to ask. He wants to ask for an animal or something, but he talks to me and he'll talk to me about his day or what's on his mind and his dreams and things like that. And but the dinner table is a great place for those kind of things. Ask your kids, what was your highest high of your day? What was your lowest low? What was like the worst moment of your school day, and what was the best moment of your school day, or whatever. But I think it's important for parents to have those conversations, but also what you're feeding them. That's a really good time to set an example. Hey, we need to make sure we have half of our plate should be fruits and vegetables or vegetables. Make sure that, they're drinking, enough milk or, having their dairy or whatever you need to do to make sure that they're getting their calcium, and having those balanced meals, that sort of thing.
The when you say that, it's interesting because I know one of the things at the dinner table in our house, if you had a problem, Mom knew it right away or Dad knew it right away, because when you sat down, they knew you because they saw
By your
see you every
demeanor.
day by your demeanor, how you acted, or if you weren't feeling well, they already had an inclination. This is what something's going on. And a lot of times after dinner, not so much my dad because he was working a lot more, but my mom would sit down and say, "Is there something on your mind?" Or, and a lot of times, especially in today's society with the phone, like you say, we're so busy, we don't see our parents very often. They're coming, they're going. You get isolated. You become you feel like you're an island. Nobody knows what I'm going through. If you couldn't be further from the truth,
Right.
but you feel that way,
Right.
because
You do.
and then
You remember those times,
I
right?
do,
When you were
do.
young. I remember
don't care what
too.
area you're from.
No.
You had those times.
That's right.
And now sometimes it gets reinforced by phones, where there is some cyberbullying, and they can really turn some of these kids into turn them inside to where they invert to themselves. They won't
Right.
talk about it because they don't know how to talk about
Right.
it.
And already they have this comfort zone of, well, I can just text it. I can just send them a message here. It's better than the face-to-face. And I know in some instances, oh, well, if I text it and I don't have to actually talk to the person, but really, kind of relationships are sort of lost and anyway, and so, yeah, I think it's always good to have some unplugged time. And,
Sure.
and I've had parents look at me and go, oh. And one dad said to me, well, we don't even have a kitchen table. We just we have those TV trays, and we sit in front of the television and have our dinner every night. And I'm like,
Never say a word.
well, what if you turn the TV off? You could still use your TV trays, and face each other, change your focal point to, we're a family, at least for that time, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, yes, I do the nutrition in the schools and talk to kids about being active and eating right. But I always like to hit on the family time too, because I think that is just such an important dynamic, and it makes a huge difference in, I think, in how your kids, they see the examples at home.
Exactly.
You're making an impact on their physical health, but their emotional health is really important too.
You influence your children how you do it. So they see
Right.
if they see how you eat, that's how they're going to eat.
Right.
Because they think, well, that's how Dad eats. That's how Mom eats. I mean, they pick it up, they're on the run, they're eating their apple on the way out the door. That must be how we have to eat. So
Right.
it becomes kind of ingrained into them, and this is what they used to see. Like I said, I mean, we all know that we're busy, and you're going to have those times where you're going to have to stop and grab a meal somewhere on the run.
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
But if it's all possible, try and sit down with each other and at least try and have some kind of short conversation about something.
Exactly. And even at third grade, Stan, we have a fun activity that I always do with the kids in third grade where we talk about protein and fats. We talk about actually the 6 main nutrients, which is water, minerals, and vitamins, and protein, fats, and carbs. And one of our activities, we talk about proteins and fats, and we actually do a little menu. It's similar to your fast food menu like Burger King or McDonald's, but so it's kind of so that they kind of can recognize some things, but not totally exact. And we look at the fat content, and we say, okay, so for a third grader your age, the average fat per meal should be no more than 22 grams. And so they have to go through there and they have to look at, well, what would I get? Oh, well, then they realize they went way over on that for that meal on the fat grams, because this is usually unhealthy fats anyway. And so then I make them, go through and we have to look at, okay, well, how can we make that healthier? Not so much fat, and there's the salad options and there's even the yogurt parfait thing,
Sure.
Well, it's probably loaded in some sugar, but just looking at the fat content, and they have fun doing it and realizing that, oh, well,
Yeah.
sometimes you can make healthier choices when you do have to eat out. And, maybe, and I tell them, I'm like, so one day a week, one meal, you just go all out and you have the Big Mac or whatever, the medium fry instead of the small or whatever. But, try to most of the time make the healthier choices. And I think that just makes a big difference.
I remember watching a HBO special where a guy ate McDonald's, and it was just McDonald's every meal, every day for 31 days. That's all he ate was McDonald's food. I mean, it was just McDonald's food. Now, there's some healthier choices with McDonald's as well, but
Right.
When you eat McDonald's, you're going to more than likely get a couple burgers, and you're going to have, a chicken sandwich or something of that nature. You're going to have some of their higher,
Right.
fat content things. Guy gained 38 pounds in a month.
In 31 days.
In 31 days.
Wow.
And it got that in 1 month. It took him 6 months to get
To
that
lose
off.
it. Yeah, it takes a lot longer to take it off than put it on.
Well, and then the guy was just traveling around. He was just doing this study, and he was just doing this just to see if a hypothesis would be true. And so, when you're just driving around, so you're sitting down, you're not doing anything,
Right.
and you're going from town to town, but you're only eating one source of nutrition, and that's not the best source.
Right.
That's why it's so important.
And not just McDonald's, but just any fast
Right.
food. I mean, and but we like it. I mean, it tastes good.
Sure.
You kind of get to craving some of those things. So, yeah.
But we all have the opportunity to eat better. I mean, this guy was doing this as an experiment, and he actually said he wished he hadn't done it because he didn't think it'd take him that long to lose the weight, but it did. And he said, I wish I hadn't done that because your health deteriorates. You shouldn't eat just one thing all the time,
Right.
no matter what.
That's why we have a My Plate.
Exactly.
It's for a variety and to make sure you're getting all the main nutrients your body needs. And it's
Especially-
important for kids' growth even. I mean,
is.
it's important for health and for growth. So
Let's talk really just real quickly because how important meals are. Because so many people skip a meal. Or, I don't have time to eat. Well, you really don't have time not to eat. You got to
Right.
eat something. But your body craves food all the time. Sometimes it craves it a lot more, especially when you go without. But if you don't feed that body, it goes into starvation mode, doesn't it? And it really
Sure.
changes things on the
it
inside.
may hang on to more fat and things like that rather than burning that energy up. Yeah.
So you really need to kind of balance that diet out. Make sure you eat little meals. I've even eaten just rice cakes.
Yeah.
Just something to
If
put
you don't
in your
have
stomach.
time for something,
Sure.
snack on something small or whatever.
That's
but,
light,
yeah.
and it's not going to be much, and it has really no fat in it whatsoever. It just kind of takes that stomach acid out of the way and keeps you from getting hungry and just kind of absorb it,
Right.
and just keep going. So the first meal of the day, breakfast, everybody has always said for years and years that's the most important meal.
It breaks the fast.
To get something in, exactly. Right. So we start talking about meals. Breakfast is very critical, and that's why the schools around here are offering, right now, they're still being offering free breakfast for these kids. And so it's very important that they actually take advantage of that, isn't it?
Exactly. And I mean, not all schools offer it free, but they do actually offer breakfast. So, when the excuse is we didn't have time to eat this morning, they can always go down to the cafeteria and pick up some breakfast. So, yeah, it is important. And I talk to kids, they know to expect that question to come from me. Did anybody not have breakfast today? And sometimes I'll get one or two kids. I'm like, oh, you're killing me here, and I give them a hard time about it because I tell them, are you hungry by lunch? Oh, yeah, I'm real hungry by lunch. Well, I'm hungry before lunch. Of course you are. The kids who ate breakfast are hungry by lunch or a little before, but you've been hungry longer. You're not able to concentrate on your work. Your brain is more foggy. You can't think as clear as you normally could. And I've had kids say, well, I make really good grades. Well, good for you. But, you would make it a whole lot easier on yourself. Even if, and some people aren't breakfast people. They're not, They don't like to eat much. Then eat a piece of fruit. Have a little bit of yogurt. Even just a glass of milk.
Piece of toast,
something with some calories. Yeah, right. Something simple, quick, not a lot if you don't want a lot. But, my kids get protein. I mean, we try to, they probably have eggs almost every morning, but I'm just kind of, for me, if I don't have protein, I'm hungry in like half an hour. Cereal doesn't last long enough for me. So
that's like pancakes with me.
Yeah.
Fill you up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it seems like within 25, 30 minutes, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
Nothing but
they're
air.
Gone in no time.
It's all gone, so you're hungry again. Very, very good, very good. But you guys do a tremendous job in getting the kids, keeping the kids notified about nutrition, and that's what it's all about. And we're coming up on a time of year when nutrition becomes even more critical, the wintertime. Then you're not outside as much, you're not doing as many things, and you also have the holidays coming up where everybody likes to gorge.
Yep. Yeah, gorge and graze and just not quit eating for days on stuff that's pretty unhealthy usually, yeah. So I always recommend if people would be willing to have some healthy options. I see it two ways. I've seen, we always try to encourage, healthy partying. I even have a calendar that sometimes, or not a calendar, a poster sometimes I'll use that's, about celebrating healthy celebrations. And I think that's great. But if it's your birthday, have some birthday cake. Come on, it's one time a year. But for some families, like I come from a kind of big family, and it seems like there's always something going on every month or whatever. So you're trying to stay really, really healthy, and then there's constantly this trip up. So it can be hard, but have healthy options and just like limit maybe those extra, pies and cakes and stuff.
Slow down on the snacking too.
Not as much. And that way maybe the kids will choose some healthy things too. And I do see parents and grandparents putting healthier things on the plate, and not giving so much of the unhealthy stuff.
Sure.
I notice those things too.
Yeah. A little extra water doesn't hurt anything either during that time.
Right.
Helps fill you up.
Yes.
And you have that nice, delicious chocolate pie or pumpkin pie, and just have a little water with it, and it'll fill you up pretty quick.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
Just get back on track, the next day or so. But then you have all those leftovers, and it's hard. When I was a kid, we didn't really have sweets and dessert and all that kind of stuff at home until the weekend. If we went somewhere or had company, my mom would make dessert, and it was always like, yes, we get dessert, But, it just wasn't there all the time, and all the soda pop and stuff like that, we would have sweet tea, but again, it just wasn't a ton. We drank lots of milk and water, and that's just kind of the way it was. But
very good, very good. All right, so you got a Dent County 4-H newsletter.
I do have the newsletter to remind me.
Because it's time to enroll, right?
Yes, it's enrollment month, and so if your kids want to be part of 4-H or they need to make sure that they are signed up by November 1st. That is the deadline.
It's only a little over a week away.
I know. Yeah, I think my kids are wanting to do this. I guess I better get on the ball since.
Good reminder to mom, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So,
anyway, if you have any questions about enrolling, because it is all online now, it's not like it used to be.
it is an online enrollment, and it's not real user friendly for cell phones.
No.
They said that in the newsletter that sometimes people have been trying to use their smartphones or whatever, and maybe it's not saving information and all that kind of stuff. So you may want to get to a tablet or a computer, preferably a computer, and do that.
All right. If you have any questions, please call Linda Shelton.
That's right, Linda Shelton at the office, 729-3196.
Yeah. Don't call it very often, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's correct. Or you can drop by and see Linda. It's in the extension building. I should say judicial building on the extension floor, which is the second floor. So you make a little climb up the steps, but it's a good climb.
Right,
Keep you in
right.
good shape. But anyway, it is time to get signed up for 4-H. So we've got a lot of great 4-H clubs around here. So if you have any questions about getting in a 4-H club or which one you might want to be in, talk with Linda. She can guide you in the right direction.
Exactly. Yep.
Very good. Stephanie, I always love to have you come in and just talk here, and we get a good chance to visit. Don't see you as often as I used to, and some of your other jobs that
Endeavors,
you've had. But anyway, but we do thank you for stopping in and kind of keeping us up to date, and how important family time is, not only for the meals that you serve, but also in kind of rounding out your children, how important it really is to give them a good background.
Right. Right.
So very good. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Stan.
Spending some time. That's our friends from the Dent County Extension. That's Stephanie Wofford here on KSMO Radio 1340. And here at your information station. And we have coming up here in just a minute our friends from the hospital in just a moment right here at KSMO Radio. But right now it's time for our Bass Pro Outdoor program on KSMO Radio coming up next.
They say to really know a man, you have to walk a mile in his boots.